Okay, I think we'll get started here. Please help yourself to some coffee and some cookies. I know many of you have traveled a long way to be here, so welcome. So my name is Jessica Walker. I direct summer programs and pre-college programs here at Parsons. And I'm so happy to see you all here today. I know that many of you have traveled a long way and you're excited to be here. Your young people are excited to be here. Our office pretty much works year-round to get ready for this day, and we're welcoming about 800 students tomorrow. So your sons and daughters are part of a very large program that is growing and very healthy, and we're very excited to see them tomorrow morning. So the purpose of this orientation is to make sure that everyone feels comfortable about what's happening in class and outside of class for the next 3 weeks. Many of you, maybe this is the first time that you've been away from your son or daughter for 3 weeks, and I'm sure that that's a little bit stressful, so we're all here to help you feel a little bit more comfortable and understand what is happening in the class. So outside of the auditorium, you may have noticed a little business card. You want to pick up one of these if you haven't. And also the other thing that is out there is our summer housing policy and our attendance and academic policy. We just want to make sure that everyone has this information and they can reference it if they have any questions. We'll be happy to answer those. So the Summer Programs Office, in my role, I'm an assistant professor here at Parsons. I teach in the first year program, and I direct pre-college programs. And my office is located in 2 West 13th Street, just right up the street this way. And if your students or if you have questions, you can certainly take down this number and our email address, summer@newschool.edu. We're happy to answer questions if they come up. You probably can't read all of these words up on this tiny words, but what this slide is to show you is that all of your students who are here with us for the 3-week program, they have enrolled in a class that is developed by Parsons, by the faculty, the deans, the staff, who work here and put a lot of thought and love into the curriculum that we have. We have 5 different schools at Parsons. In Art, Media, and Technology, School of Constructed Environments, which is a fancy way of saying architecture, interior design, product design. We also have School of Fashion, which you've probably heard of. But all of your young people have chosen one of these courses, and they're going to be enrolled in this class for the next 3 weeks. They are receiving college credit for this course, so it's very academically rigorous. They are in class for 6 hours a day with their faculty member. All of the faculty who teach in this program teach in the undergraduate program at Parsons. So in that sense, they are definitely getting a feel for what it's like to be a Parsons student here in the degree program, the regular term. So I know many parents and many students are interested in maybe thinking about Parsons as a future place for them. So this is a great opportunity to do that. This I stole from one of the faculty who's teaching industrial design, Lynn Mayer, just to show you. Is anybody nervous? They're like, oh great, my kid wants to study art and design. They don't want to go to medical school. Anybody in that category? Great. This is the one man who's honest in here. That's great. So I'm here to tell you that there are jobs, there are futures in art and design. This is a slide to show you how in-depth their study is going to be. They are going on field trips. They are meeting with guest lecturers. They are going to the Met. They're going to visit artists and design studios. This is just a sketch, a quick sketch that Len made when he was showing me what he's thinking about with this curriculum. So I just want to make sure everybody feels comfortable with they are going to be working really hard and learning a lot. And New York City is really going to be the place where they explore. They're going to get out and see a lot. They're going to be hitting the pavement and learning a lot of new things. I also want to point out some really helpful information for all of you so you know what they have access to as a student here at Parsons for the next 3 weeks. They have access to student health services. Everyone here has paid a student health services fee, which gives them access to medical and mental health counseling. So if anything comes up during the program, they certainly have access to this right across the street, Fifth Avenue. They also have access to Parsons Advising, which is really important, again, because if you are a pre-college student and you are interested in coming to Parsons as an undergraduate, you are assigned your own advisor who works with you throughout your time in the program. And we feel this is a really important part of the academic integrity of our program, and so your students will also have access to advising. All students have an appointment tomorrow or at some point later in the week to get an ID card. And just because we treat them just like any other Parsons student, this card allows them to have access to the buildings throughout campus. It also allows them to have discounts at things like the Museum of Modern Art, where they can get in free using this card. So it's always really great to ask businesses if they accept this card or if there's any kind of discount available for the Parsons ID card. Actually all of the students who are living in university housing do have a meal plan for the pre-college students. So they will be dining at 63 Fifth Avenue, and it's a really lovely facility. They do an excellent job making food that's affordable and locally sourced and organic and delicious. It's a really incredible facility, and we're really happy that it's open and available for all of our summer students. Is anybody traveling internationally to be here? A lot. So we have a huge international population of students in the summer. It's very exciting. We love having all of you here. There is an office that is devoted just for international students, and any issues that come up regarding visas, international travel, these kinds of things come up when you're away from home, far away from home. So the International Student and Scholar Services Office, all of the international students will be checking in with this office tomorrow. They have an appointment just to check in and make sure everything is good with the visa. We also have a lot of student activities. A lot of parents of pre-college students want to know, okay, they get out of class at 4 p.m., what happens after class? This is a question we get a lot of the time. Our Student Development and Activities Office has planned different outings for the evenings, and again, you probably can't read all of this text, but this is just an example of some of the things that they have access to, like mini golf. They go to Broadway plays. They have fitness classes that they can participate in. There are art and design workshops that are part of the program. So if for any reason there is a pre-college student who's looking for something to do, please remind them that we have lots of activities that are going on. These are not even listing the ones that the housing team puts on that we'll hear about a little bit later. So make sure that if you hear from your student, Mom, Dad, I don't know what to do after class, they're going to have a lot of homework, I'll say that first, because it is an academic program and it's a 3 college credit course. They're going to have homework. They're going to be working late on work. But if they're looking for something to do outside of the curriculum, let them know that there are lots of activities for them to sign up for. And you don't have to tell your kids about this one, but if you want to see what's going on in the program from afar, maybe this is a really good way for you to check in. We have different social media outlets that we utilize throughout the program, and so if you want to check in and see some images from field trips or what's happening in the studios, this can be a really great way to keep an eye on that. All of our students, pre-college, college, everyone completes these requisite forms that we've been emailing out. This may be familiar to some of you, but if it's the first time that you've ever seen this website. Definitely, we need this from every student. If you don't know if you've turned it in, or if you have or have not turned it in, it's really great to just do it again. This is, so we have all the emergency contact for your student. We know who to contact if anything comes up. In the rare occasion that something would come up, we have all of this information. Also on this form, you can list things like if they have allergies or any kind of medication you should be familiar with. Please do go ahead and fill it out if you haven't done so already. And what we'll do tomorrow, if we see that a student hasn't filled this form out, then we will be in contact with them to remind them. A lot of parents are, again, really interested in potentially having their student come here to an undergraduate program, and this pre-college experience is really helping them to get geared up and experience what it's like to be a Parsons student. If you have a young person in that category, definitely encourage them to visit with the Parsons admission office. We have a welcome center that is devoted to meeting with families and students about questions with admission. And we also have set up portfolio reviews for the final Wednesday of our program. So any student who is interested in just asking questions, or if they want to have their portfolio reviewed by an admissions counselor, we set this up for the final Wednesday. So it's really good to remind them about these activities happening. So I'm gonna leave just for a minute. I'll be around, but I want to also bring up some of the housing team to come and speak with you. It's really important that all the parents in the room understand that our greatest interest is to keep your students safe and participating in the program. And in order to do this, there's policies that are in place. So if you want to review any of the housing policies, you can do so on this sheet. We'll be going over some of these in just a minute. And also the academic and attendance policies are on the back. The academic program is tied to the housing program in that if something were to happen in housing, if a young person violates one of the housing policies, they would be asked to leave the program without refund. And we want to avoid this at all costs. This is something that's very rare and we just do not want to happen. So we want everyone to know that if any policy is violated, it definitely impacts their ability to continue in the academic program. So, yes, we have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have organized activities during the weekends? Is the question, and the answer is yes, we do. The housing team does, yeah. The calendar I was showing is for the academic program, so I think somebody will be speaking more about the housing side of things. Good question. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end, I should say, too. No worries. Feel free to ask. So next up, we're going to hear from Lizzie and Marcia from the housing team that are going to talk more about Res Life.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Marcia Goslin. I am one of the area coordinators here for Student Housing and Residence Life. Pardon the energy, I just came back from vacation, so I'm feeling good, I'm feeling refreshed. Hope you all are as well. We're going to speak to you about a few things that takes place in housing, and we're going to break it up in categories. So this is part of it, then we have an emergency protocol part, and then we'll have a student housing violation part. And again, we'll have some time at the end to ask any questions that you may have. So I'm here on behalf of Dennis Scott Torbett. You may have heard his name once or twice. He is Assistant Director for Summer Housing, and you may have worked with him to secure your space or your housing assignment. And I also am here on behalf of Elisa Bays, who's the Director of Housing and Residence Life, and you will hear that name as we go out throughout the program as well. But two things. So Summer Housing, our office is located here, 72 Fifth Ave, which is right up the block at the very corner, across from the University Center, Cary Hall. And this is the best way to contact us, summerhousing@newschool.edu, and our phone number. But more importantly, these are the halls that you will be staying. It's either going to be Cary Hall, which is 65th Fifth Ave, or 13th Street Residence. Both of these locations are unique, great environments, an opportunity to build community and continue your learning outside of the classroom. That's one thing we believe strongly in Housing and Residence Life, that learning takes place both inside the classroom and outside of the classroom. I know for me, I personally met a lot of my friends in college. I built those relationships, you create those study buddies, you have that support system. So we want to ensure that we're setting them up for success in the residence halls as well. Some of the amenities in both halls include a lounge, which is like a common area where students could go watch TV. There's also a study lounge for more of a quiet space. They have fitness rooms. Some of them have an art room, and in addition, like a music practice room. Each area have a laundry room as well, laundry facilities to do your laundry. And you can find all this information on the housing website. We also have 24-hour security and facilities. Well, facilities isn't 24 hours, but there's someone 24 hours on call and available as needed. But there's a security guard at the front desk 24 hours to ensure who comes in and who comes out. As you go in, they may stop you as a parent to say, hey, who are you with? That's just for your safety. We don't want anyone just coming in the building. They may or may not ask for your ID, but that's because we want to ensure that we know who's in the building at all times for liability reasons. We also have office assistants. We call them OAs and RAs. Anyone know what an RA is? Yeah, so resident advisor, resident assistant. The RAs are on each and every floor. They will have a community that they focus on, and these are the RAs that we're putting on a lot of those programs on the weekends. And these are the RAs there that serve as a resource. They're here to help with mediation, just in case you don't get along with your roommates, but that won't happen, not this time around. But they're there for that as well. And honestly, these are the ones that you should be speaking to. The RAs are in the program. They're here for they're here at the new school. They're going through the program. They probably went through what you went through, so you want to also get to know them and have conversations with them, ask them about the professors, ask them about the school. They're going to be very honest with you, but they're there as well as a resource for you. They've gone through rigorous training, summer training. They'll also go through academic year 3 weeks training to be trained on crisis management, community building, and all of those things. But one of the biggest roles that we want the RAs to play in the residence hall is programming. So there's about 6 RAs in 13th Street residence, and I believe 12 RAs or 14 RAs in Cary Hall. And each RA is responsible for putting on a certain amount of programs per week. So on top of all the activities in OSDA will have, we're also going to have a number of activities in the hall. Probably a little bit more targeted to the academic program because they understand the nature of what the students will be going through. But those are going to be things that takes place in the halls as well. More like learning New York City, more like how to begin Illustrator design, things like that you'll need to succeed in your program. And yes, I'll be back.
Hello, my name is Lizzie. I am the summer operations intern in Central Housing, so I work under Dennis and Elisa, and you've probably received about 1 million emails from me about different things, weekend away processes, and all of that. So I want to talk about weekend away specifically because I feel like there's been a lot of confusion and there's always so many questions about it. And we always take it very seriously because we want to ensure the safety of your students at all costs. You know, that's why we have curfew and all those things that we'll talk about in a little bit. But the weekend away process, you should have all received emails that ensured that you had both documents that are necessary to have weekend aways approved by the new school. So weekend away is basically an exemption from curfew on Friday and Saturday night. So a lot of people have family in the area, have parents that are visiting, and they want to spend the weekend with their students in the hotel, and that's totally fine. We just need to have documentation for students that are not there for curfew. So there's a waiver where we need a signature. A lot of people think that you have to print it out, but most of the time if you have a PDF viewer, you can take it out on your phone and sign it with your finger and send it right back to me. And as long as I have that the Wednesday before the weekend, and as well as in terms of the waiver, we also need a Google form which tells us which weekends you want your student to be away, which has all been sent to you in an email. So this summer housing emails have had a little weekend away thing on the bottom, and it has the link to the Google Doc, and also has the physical PDF of the waiver attached to the email. So if you have any questions about getting to it and you can't find it, you can email Summer Housing at New School and I'll be able to help you. But we really want to reiterate that on Wednesday at 5 p.m., we want the weekend away forms because lots of last minute requests come in and we really need to keep track of all of your students. We want to treat them as if they were adults. So we want these things to happen in a timely manner. And I think she talked a little bit about the meal plan, but it's in Cary Hall, basically next to Cary Hall in the University Center. And it's basically a declining balance on their student ID card. So they get about $500 and they can budget it however they want. They have hours on the weekends and the weekdays, so it's right there. Everything should be cool, and they should be able to eat, and it's good food, as they all say. And just keep in mind that if you don't use it, it goes away. So please use all your dining dollars. You want to get your money's worth for your food. And also for New Card, you have to load money onto a New Card Cash card, which is basically your ID. It's very easy. You can use a credit or debit card, so they have access to the laundry facilities. So it's super simple. And other than that, you get your ID cards at check-in and all that stuff.
Katie and I will now speak.
Hello, everybody. I am Katie Berry. I'm the one who invited you all to this session. So I am the summer program and housing liaison. Part of my position is to help support students in the classroom by being a teacher assistant at times or escorting on the field trips, and then also by helping out in the office that Jess works at. Another way that I help support students is responding to emergency situations in the residence halls with your pre-college students. So in any sort of emergency situation, what will basically happen is the student will have to inform the RA in some way, or the roommate can inform the RA if like something's happening. The RA will assess the situation, kind of handle it, and call up if needed. But I'm always called because it's a pre-college student, so they're under the age of 18. So what will happen is if they need to be transported to the hospital, let's say, I will then contact you with your emergency contact information to make sure that it's okay for your student to be assessed and helped at the hospital. Yes, and so some of the other things that I could be called for include if a student missed their curfew, or if there's some sort of medical emergency, some sort of mental health emergency. So anything like that.
And I guess just to reiterate, the importance of the emergency is we just want to make sure that your parents are far away, you're here, but we want to ensure that you know that you're not alone. And no matter how big or small, we don't want you to be scared or hesitant to call somebody. There's a plethora of resources readily available to help you, and Katie's one of those folks that are on almost all the time, bless her heart, for you. So if you cut your finger while you're working on a project, if you're just kind of homesick, and she might redirect you back to the RA, or if it's something where you have to go to the hospital, she'll be there and actually go to the hospital with you, walk through that process with you, and kind of just make sure that you're not alone. So we want to ensure that parents understand that that's a big role that Katie will play. From the housing aspect, I mentioned securities in every building, just talking about emergencies again, 24 hours, and guests have to sign in, and we'll speak about guests a little bit. We also have fire safety protocol that we'll go over at check-in. Each suite door will have this fire safety information on the back of their suite door as well, because New York City or high-rises, sometimes it's a little bit different, so just be sure to read that. And medical emergencies, as Katie mentioned, we have a few hospitals that are close by. I think the closest between Cary Hall and 13th Street is Lenox Hill Hospital, which is on 7th Avenue. And we also have one right across from the building that I oversee, Spike Park, which is Beth Israel Hospital. So typically if there is a medical emergency, just know those names, just in case you need to follow up or contact someone at the hospital. In addition, we mentioned staff on call 24 hours. We have what we mentioned RAs, which are resident advisors. We have OAs. We're big on acronyms here. We have OAs, which are office assistants. They're there during the day, so typically you'll be in class, but they're the ones that work the mailroom. If a parent called during the day, that's who you'll typically speak with. Those are office assistants. Cary Hall, because it is a larger residence hall, have something called HRs, which are head residents. So these are considered paraprofessional staff. They're grad students that work directly with the area coordinator of the building, which would be David Howe for Cary Hall. So this is the name of a contact person you might get in touch with. David Howe for Cary Hall and Rebecca Stein for 13th Street Residence Hall. Those are the two individuals that oversee each of those areas, David Howe and Rebecca Stein. And lastly, I just kind of want to go over a few do's and don'ts in New York City. Have anyone lived in New York City before? Raise your hand. Yay. Well, welcome back, but for majority of you, this might be a new experience. It's a wonderful city, but we do want to make sure that you are alert and you are aware. So we just want to mention a few New York City do's and don'ts. So let's say, do walk with a buddy. So if you're walking late or anything, it's important if you have a friend, if you made a friend, walk with a buddy. Let's say, don't walk alone singing Rihanna, work, 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 work on like a high volume. Like, let's keep that low just so that you're alert of your surrounding, that you know what's going on. Like, I usually walk with one headphone in and one headphone out just so I can still hear, even though I might be listening to music just to pass time. Do be alert and don't walk and talk on your phone. So maybe it's good to maybe speak to a parent or a friend just to have someone there. But if you're so engrossed in conversation and you're laughing and you're not paying attention, someone can easily run up and snatch that phone. So it's important to maybe just put the phone away and just kind of be alert and try to get from point A to point B as soon as possible. Do travel at a decent time if possible, and don't travel alone late nights. Do walk with your cell phone and while it's secure and hopefully tucked away, don't leave your phone hanging out your pocket. So if you have like a short pocket, don't leave it hanging out, or don't leave your pocketbook open. I'm guilty of that, and it's something I'm still continuing to do, but I don't like to close my purse so it's open. So if I'm on the subway and everyone is tight, that's an easy access into your pocketbook. So just keep that in mind. And no more don'ts. So do learn the subway system. We have Uber, taxis, those are going to be your best friend. And do focus on your academics. You're here for your academic program. It's a very rigorous program. We can't stress that enough. So definitely make sure that you're excited about that and that you don't get caught up in the New York City busyness. We want you to enjoy your time, but we also want you to remember the purpose of why you're here. And do have fun. It's about balance. This is your first step into transitioning into college, and that's one of the things that we're really excited about at Housing, to play a role in that for you. And that's why we're actually kind of hard on you a little bit. We're holding you accountable to the curfew check-ins. We're holding you accountable to every single policy. We are going to hold you accountable to make wise decisions, because this is a transition into adulthood. This is a transition into college. When the academic year comes, you're essentially on your own, and we want to make sure that we're setting you up for success and not for failure.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit confused. Yeah. It sounds like you're totally speaking to the students, but the students aren't here.
Yeah, okay, so this is something you could tell them. I thought this was for parents and students, my apologies. Yeah, well, this is something that you could tell them. I apologize for that.
Will this be replicated?
Yeah.
This orientation?
Yeah, so then the last part of that is, the last note is it's a mandatory community meeting that will happen in the residence hall at check-in, which is tomorrow. Today. So when they check in tonight, every student will have a mandatory check-in that they'll have to go to. It's really important that they go to this meeting because this is where they'll highlight all the policies, all the things that we're mentioning, and go into specifics about what the programs are that are going to be coming up and that they should be attending. So thank you for clarifying that.
Can you announce the time?
The mandatory meetings, I don't have it right now, but it's advertised in Cary Hall and in 13th Street Residence Hall.
The students are already checked in, so I mean.
Yeah, it's going to be tonight. They know about this already. Yeah.
They're already having an orientation now.
Students, just to clarify, students already know that the mandatory meeting is happening. It's nothing brand new. This is happening. They know about it. They learned this information at check-in. If they didn't, they will, because the RHDs and the RAs are planning it. So this is actively happening while you're here. So it will be taking place. And I think because Cary Hall is a little larger, it might be multiple meetings, but they will be having the meetings. They have a group meetings, and then they have floor meetings. This way the students will get to know who's on their floor, who's in their community, and participate a little bit more.
have the 13th Street dorm, and the only thing we know about is an 8 o'clock mixer.
Yep, and that's going to be part of the meeting, yes.
So you think
Yep,
we should be addressed then?
It has to be, yes. That's part of, like, I can tell you for sure, that's part of the responsibilities. We cannot let the students stay without at least acknowledging or highlighting the policies. Mhm. We call it a mixer so that most students will come, so it's like fun, but we will address it. It's kind of lure them there, but we definitely will be addressing it there as well. Okay? The last thing we want to focus on is student housing violation and the judicial process, and this is going to be important for you all as parents to understand, just so you know the steps that happen if a student were to get documented.
Hello everyone, hi, my name is Victoria Mullaney. I am the person in charge of conduct in summer housing for the summer. I hope that I actually will not meet your student this summer, because if I do, then that's a reason why, is because they've been documented in the hall. And how that usually comes about is because, let's say there's some type of incident happening in the evening hours, typically is when we get our most, often we get our reports. And that's usually because our RAs, they do rounds in the halls, and many of you who've had a college experience on your own, maybe you've had your own remembrance of what it was like in college, and our RA staff are, like Marcia mentioned, current college students here at Parsons in the new school, and their job is really to ensure the safety and security of everybody and to make it a comfortable housing environment for everybody here while they're staying. And as they do their rounds, the mentionings and things of what they may encounter. And in the past, we have had issues with students underage drinking. Now, that's a reality, and we would have to face that if that came across. Now, all of these policies are outlined, and we would hope that none of these things happen while your student is here with us. But if they do, after I get an actual report, every morning when I log into the office, I will read reports, and then from that point, make a decision on contacting your student individually. How that would happen is I would email them. I have their contact information, and the meeting is mandatory for them to meet with me. What that happens next is I have the facts based on the RA's perspective of what happened that night, and then the student will have to come in as a young adult. I know parents have the tendency to kind of let them go through this process because it's hard to want to jump in and try to speak for them. But at this point, you're going to have them navigate that situation. And so the best way to inform your student of our policies is to take some time this evening, if you get a moment to be with them before you say your goodbyes for the summer, to really just make sure you stress the importance of following the policy. We are very serious about following our protocol here. If your student is found responsible for violating a policy, whether they think it's fair or not, they will be asked to leave the program. No refund, and that's a lot of money you've invested in your young student to be here. So we don't want that to happen. Obviously, that's never something I want to do. It's a very difficult conversation. I've done conduct for several years now, and it's never an easy one for someone to face the fact over a mistake that was made. But sometimes it does happen, and the reality is it might make sense to leave the program. So, you know, I hope that I do get to meet your students, but not under the context of a situation that's unfortunate. But if that does happen, we're here to work with them. We're here to help them learn from the moment and to help them understand maybe what I could do in another situation so they can learn from that. Some of the things I'll just highlight, the guest policy. I know many of you may be here for maybe the next couple days as your student gets settled into the hall. It's important to know that you yourself have to follow the guest policy despite your wanting to visit your student. That means that I know today our policies have been a little lax. You've been moving your student into the hall and everybody's here trying to get everyone situated. But starting tomorrow, you will have to present your photo ID. Passports are not accepted, and the security guards are really stringent and very direct with their communication and making sure that that's followed. We do that really to make sure that your student is not getting no one is getting access into the building that shouldn't be in here, including parents. Like parents, you do have to provide your ID and let them know that you're here to see your student. And as far as guest policy goes, there are a couple things I want to point out. For the guests to be entered into the hall, they would then check into the security, provide their photo ID. The time frame is residents, your students, may be allowed to check up 2 guests at a time during the day. So let's say they have a friend here in New York, or maybe someone visiting here and they want to come see them at their new residence hall while they're here for the summer or during the next 3 weeks. As long as that friend comes to the guest security desk and your student will meet them in the lobby, they can check them in, they can go up to the room and hang out in there. From 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning, there's no more than 1 overnight guest at a time in the space. So we don't really encourage any overnight guests in our housing because there's, Oh, there's not. Okay.
College students.
They're not allowed to have any guests overnight. But they're allowed to, we have other residents that are here that are also interested. So they're not allowed any overnight guests, period. But you can allow your student to have a person come and visit them, a friend of theirs, up until 10 p.m. After that point, they have to leave. We're going to take questions in a few moments. Just trying to look at some other things. So as Jessica mentioned previously, if they are dismissed from our program due to a housing violation, they will be dismissed from the academic program. It goes in tandem. There's no exceptions. And that also means no refund. So we just want to be very, very clear about that. We really don't want that to happen for any of your students here. We want them to have a positive time. And we will make sure that that can happen. So I think at this point, Lizzie's going to talk a little bit more about the curfew, and we'll be wrapping up shortly.
So this is just the second page of the policies because it just doesn't all fit in one slide. But primarily, curfew means that students have to be either somewhere in their building by 11 p.m. And that means that they have to check in with their RA or the RA office. So I know if I come home early and I'm here at like 8 o'clock, I don't want to have to stay up till 11 to check in. You can go into the office, just be like, I'm here, they'll mark you off, everything's good. There are no exceptions to the curfew policy, only the weekend away process. So there'll be a list posted on the weekends. We'll have a software that will update with their name, who is allowed to not check in on Friday and Saturday nights. Curfew is very serious because we need to keep track of everybody in the building, and we want our students to be safe. We keep talking about safety, but that's really why we're here and why we have all these people in residence halls that are there to support your students and make sure that everyone's cool. There will be, the lounge is open, the laundry rooms are open, like they can do things past 11 if they're night owls, but it has to be inside the building. And if students don't check in for curfew, if they're running late, we really, really, really want to treat it as 11 is the curfew, but for some reason, if that happens, they'll all have a duty phone number for the RA. So let's just say they get stuck somewhere, they can call and be like, I'm on my way. And we just need to make sure that we have some sort of communication because we will contact you, the emergency contact information, if we don't know, if we cannot find the student. Usually that doesn't happen, everybody checks in because everybody understands how serious it is, but we just want to reiterate that curfew is very serious, checking in at 11, and the only exception is a weekend away process. And you have to receive approval from me or somebody else in central housing to have officially approved weekend aways.
Yeah, I think that's it. Just so you know, the RA's role when it comes to the judicial process is the RAs may also document your student if a policy violation takes place. And they're the ones that are on the ground. And this would happen by the RAs going to the suite, having a conversation with your student. They then write a report, and then that gets sent to Victoria. And then that's where the conversation takes place from there. Just so you know that what happens in-house. And again, curfew is really to set them up for success. They have a very rigorous program. We don't want them out all night. We want to make sure that they're safe in the building. But outside of that, we really do hope that we have a successful program, and we're looking forward to getting to know them in the residence hall.
Thanks so much from the housing team. So lots of information, and what we want to do before we move to questions is a quick quiz. So we hope you were listening. And actually, we're competing for something very exciting. You're competing for this vintage tote bag. This is a person's tote bag with a sketchbook in it. So I just need to see a hand for someone who, okay, in the back, yes. What time is curfew? 11. Perfect. Who said that? You want me to look it up? Yeah. So please, when you see your young person tonight, Remind them that curfew is 11 o'clock, very important. If a student misses more than blank class sessions, they will fail their course. Right here in front.
3 sessions, letter B.
Let's see, is she right? 3 sessions. Perfect. Very nice. Okay. If a student is removed from housing, it will not affect their place in the program. I'm going to get someone here. Sunglasses. Yes. Boss. What do you think? Yes, perfect. Next one.
So, one day of class is considered how many class sessions?
2.
Oh.
2.
Did you say that?
2.
She just yelled it out.
I'm sorry.
Just give it to her. She's very eager. She wants the tote bag. What evenings are included during weekend away? Get some more people over here. The blue? Okay. Saturday, Friday, and Saturday. And then we have one last question, I think. Oh, wait, what happened?
What?
That last one.
It's just what is a weekend.
Here's a striped collar shirt. The man that was on.
What is the question?
All of the above. Okay. Very good. Okay, so I think
Yay!
you guys are A+ students.
Yeah.
All right. So now I think we're in a good position to take some questions. Let's see. Go for it.
My daughter runs, and she was told she can't go out and run in the morning. What is your deal, how the curfew is affected?
In the AM session. What about curfew in the morning?
I think it's 7:30. It's either 7:30 or 8.
It's 7:30 a.m. So they have curfew basically is from 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. So let's just say there's a weekend away. Well, the earliest they can leave is Friday.
But during the week, she can't go out for a 7 o'clock run.
She would need to wait till 7:30.
There is also a workout room in the basement of Cary Hall.
That has an effect on the not the same as running the street.
Right.
If she wanted to get a free jog in or warm up and then go outside. Yeah, but what about 13th Street?
Oh.
They could use the fitness
There's
room
also a
Cary
fitness room there.
at Cary Hall.
Both spaces have the same like types of accommodations for fitness. And the
What-
same hall.
Or they could use Cary Hall, of course.
Good question. All right. Another one.
They sign out for the weekend to go with a friend, and then they decide they're not going to do it.
As long as they check in for curfew, their weekend away will be voided. So let's just say if you leave Friday at 7:30 in the morning and you forget something, we encourage you not to come back, because once you come back, they check in for curfew, and that means you're going to be voided. So you can tell the RA, just check in for that curfew at night, and just let somebody know. Sorry. So what happens is that if somebody leaves and doesn't want to come back, or I'm losing my words. If somebody doesn't want to leave, they can just inform their RA and let them know that they will be here for curfew. And weekend aways are voided if they return to the residence hall. So if you leave on Friday and you want to come back for something, that's not within the policy. So once you leave at 7:30 in the morning, if that's the earliest you want to go, you cannot come back, because then you have to be back for curfew at 11 if you come back.
So you have to declare when you're leaving, or let's say you leave at 7 o'clock in the evening, Friday, when you got your first or something.
Yeah, you can't come back to the residence hall. Because we have to keep track of all the students, it's just not within the realm of the possibilities of having 400 plus students in residence halls.
But that would be kind of emergency. If you first, then you have to come back to that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll work with you as needed, but I think the important thing is we have over 800 students. So say half of them decide to leave for the weekend, but some are there and some are coming back and some are canceling. It's really to provide a structure and consistency. Yeah, but I think in any situation we will work with you case by case. But the overall message is, if you leave, you leave. If you don't leave and you cancel, then you're staying.
I noticed on the slide about the meal times that they start tomorrow, but so dinner tonight, they're on their own or what?
They would be open to using one of the facilities that is close by. We have lots of little cafes that are close by.
But I mean,
the
it's
dining
not-
hall is not open.
Okay, so they're on their own
Yeah.
financially for their own dinner.
That's right.
Okay. And then the other question that I had, Lizzie, you had kind of zipped by something about laundry and the card.
Yes, so
Could you say that more slowly?
So they each are going to get a student ID, which just basically facilitates as their laundry card. So there's a website. You just go to newschool/new card cash. It's all on the housing website. It's very easy to find, and you can just add money to your card, and then it's just like like a regular laundry room where you swipe, you pick a machine, and you can put as much money on that card if you want.
Is that separate from the meal card?
Yes, and with that, the new card cash could also be used at local restaurants in the area. So I know there's a few like burger spots or just like I think Whole Foods, like supermarkets. Like if you wanted to add cash, you could add it to your card and use it there for laundry and in the area.
The ID card, is it also the same card as their dining card?
Yes.
Okay, so they just need to get a separate card for laundry.
No, they just need to add the new card cash on that card through Card Services website.
So my assumption is that my daughter has hers at 500 or pre-level.
Yes. 500 automatically, everyone has that. That's the dining dollars. If you wanted to add more, something like a new card cash value, you could do that through this website right here, and it could be used on the laundry machines or within like local areas, eateries in the areas.
Okay, so to be completely clear then,
Yeah.
the $500 that
Dining.
is just in the dining room.
Mhm.
It's not usable in the laundry.
Nope.
Okay, so the same card basically can hold two different funds.
Yep.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
How much is laundry? Which card is this?
All right, 1 second. We had a question for how much is laundry. Is it 125?
$2.50. So if you want to have, So for each load of laundry, it's $2.50. So for me to put a load of in the wash, $2.50. To move to the dryer, $2.50.
Oh, so $5
Yeah. Yeah. So $5 to wash and dry a load of laundry.
Sorry, I just thought my daughter didn't get her card.
Okay. So if your student didn't get her card today, she needs to go to Card Services tomorrow morning. They open at 9, and
We have an appointment for her to get it.
yeah. So she should probably have an appointment.
Every student has an appointment tomorrow. We even if they didn't get it today, they will get it tomorrow. We make sure everybody has an appointment.
Okay, so
All of your students have another orientation that they go to in the morning. And so everything that's being talked about here regarding housing, all of your students are listening to right now, or they will be listening to tonight about housing policy. Everything else, ID cards, the academic program, attendance, they're actually going to go to their own orientation tomorrow morning. And then at that point, there's going to be opportunities to check in with International Student Services, get their card, and things like that.
so the potential she'll have for breakfast.
For breakfast today.
Tomorrow.
My understanding is that most people do, and if there's a problem with it, then.
Well, she doesn't have the card, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So the dining hall uses that card for the funds, but she does not.
Oh, okay. She may have to pay cash to get a meal tonight and tomorrow morning, but once she has the card, our orientation is in the morning, tomorrow first thing, so she'll have it then.
It's at 11. It's at 11, the orientation.
So she may have to pay cash for the breakfast, but hopefully, as soon as we get through orientation in the morning, her first point of contact with the program is orientation.
So if we load up the new card for laundry and whatnot, it looks like based on that link, we can get a refund for that amount. In the bottom right corner, it says new card
Refund
cash
request.
refund request.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could always fill it out and request it. That's Card Services, it's not our office, but you can always contact them and double check to confirm. We just know that dining dollars, you do not get a refund. If you don't use it, you lose it. But if it says so, I would try it or call them just to verify.
Okay.
Yes.
All the talk about orientation and the RA orientation, all your helpful information about, for instance, health services and portfolio assessment, will that be discussed
Yes.
today?
Basically, everything you saw today, I'm going to give to the students first thing in the morning. So everything that I talked about regarding admission, regarding academic policies, they are all going to hear that in the morning.
And in the hall.
And that's what time and where?
Orientation for pre-college is tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. They should have received an email, but it's tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in the University Center, which is Cary Hall. 63 Fifth Avenue, just on the street.
We haven't been on the email list for some reason, so we missed.
So a lot of people may not have been getting emails because they come to your son or daughter. Have you checked with your son or daughter to see if they've been getting emails? Okay. So if you haven't been receiving emails, did you receive an email about today?
I got a comment
Okay.
on housing.
So we just need to connect and make sure that we have your email address. You're welcome to come up and we'll find out which class to give you. Yeah.
Does the 13th Street housing have washers and dryers?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That, he had a question.
As parents, can we add to our website and put cash on the card?
The new core cash, yes.
Yeah,
And then what about Wi-Fi? Is there?
We have Wi-Fi throughout the campus. It's free for the students to use. There's also guest access if anybody wants to use that.
In the residence hall at 13th Street, I'm I think Wi-Fi is on the main level. I think in the residence halls you might have to either have a router or an Ethernet cord to access the Wi-Fi in the actual rooms. But that's something they would have gone over in the hall, so your student would tell you more about that when they have their in-hall meetings. And that's it. That's the 13th Street.
Yeah, in the back. All students are going to have, we actually will give all students an appointment time to get their ID card. So you will definitely get an ID card. The first thing you need to do in the morning is go to orientation at 11 a.m. And then we're going to get everybody oriented so they know where to go. Basically, we have to get everyone in the same place, in the same room, and go over all the things that are policies and stuff like that. So everybody's on the same page, and then you're going to go to class from there. Yeah.
So the first class is tomorrow afternoon. There's no class in the morning?
The first class is tomorrow right after orientation. So as soon as orientation is over, they go to class. We actually have a college adult program that starts, the orientation is at 9. We run that orientation, then we have pre-college at 11. Yeah.
So are they given one card or two different cards?
One card.
One card. Everything is on the one card. So they're gonna have that card today for the meal tonight.
Most people will have their card tomorrow. The dining services opens tomorrow, so they're going to need to get something at a bodega or a cafe that's close by tonight. There's many area eateries that are close by.
And they give you the card for the meal plan and also for the restaurants around.
Take the ID card cash.
That's right.
Yes. In every building and every room.
Good question. Yeah.
$500 goes down to the water.